What I think we need to focus on is to redesign financial markets so they actually foster creative destruction and not destructive creation. And what I mean by that is that we actually, again, reward the most innovative firms as opposed to penalizing them, which will actually require such things like rethinking the credit scores.
The financial sector is probably the sector where the attempts to continuously pull in new products, new services based on information communication technologies, new opportunities for delivering particular services, for spreading risks across the globe, has had a negative systemic impact on stability, on security, on certainty in terms of the financial means one would invest with banks.
Well, let us hope that one of the results is the financial crisis will contribute to less innovation in financial instruments. But it's also possible that just the very fact that we're going to have a very difficult time climbing out of the recession is going to have less money available for research and development and innovation for a long time.
You see, the financial crisis has created a lot of innovation. So the financial regulations were now newly debated, new one came into the market. So I think this can give us a good chance for the future to get a better system, not only within Europe, not only within the G20. I think it's a global understanding that we have to have more innovation to make good policies.
One can say that necessity is the mother of innovation, so that out of financial crisis we can find new creative solutions, innovations that could take our economies in new directions. Or we could say that this might lead to a massive integration of the whole financial system, which would be an innovation within the financial sector. I think that it's about time that we start looking at those kinds of innovations.
One would argue, or might argue, that the lack of innovation was what led, at least in part, to the crisis. When people can invest more and get a bigger return in capital goods like houses than in businesses that employ people, that certainly leads to a crisis. So I would argue that innovation is the driver for good, the driver that will get us out of the crisis.
The crisis would definitely, and already has affected innovation. I think for 2 or 3 reasons. One of course is there is less demand for innovation because innovation is more costly, more risky. So if you have tight budgets, you might not demand them.
It's very necessary that we put more financial, more budget into innovation and research, and that will be also now when we have the Horizon 2020. It's very important.
As in all financial crises, it leads to over-caution. Probably people are currently very conscious of risk, they're very cautious, they're not investing enough. If we want to get economic growth again, then we have to invest in innovation in the future. So I think this financial crisis is like every other financial crisis for the last 300 or 400 years. Although we always think something is new, it's not. And ultimately people's spirits will rise, and then they will invest, and then there will be innovation.
The balance between cost advantages elsewhere and quality advantages in Europe shifts towards other areas. So there's a bit of a risk that the cost calculation comes in, and we see a relocation of innovation activities. But there's one more issue, so I'm a bit more positive than this sounds, which is the efficiency agenda. There is an innovation in terms of doing things more efficient, and therefore companies and also public sectors invest in innovation to just do things better and more efficient, and there is a market for that.
We found that the credit crunch has hurt, again, the most innovative firms because they are the ones that actually require more credit to engage with this Knightian uncertainty world. But more than that, I think the question is how can we as policymakers in different areas realign in order to foster a post-crisis recovery where innovative firms can actually both emerge as new firms, but also the existing ones, gain credit.
Financial innovation is the sort of example par excellence of what I mean by destructive creation. You could say that if you look at the share value of banks and financial institutions today, it's more or less the same on the aggregate as what it was in 1985. So you're witnessing to some extent that 25 years of mergers, of acquisitions, of changes in the financial sector, of introducing new financial innovations. Think of credit default swaps, securitization, and various other new ways in which you can arbitrage at the global level. All these innovations being introduced have basically created no share value whatsoever over the last 25 years.
I think for some it brought a big benefit, for others it brought a loss. So for some who got a loss, they should be also innovative and maybe create a new legislative framework. That's our job and that's what we do now.